What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Bit of Footy YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be running through my round 7 / Anzac round tips. Now, last round, I got a total of 4 out of 8 tips. Again, I tend to get 4 out of 8 a lot. So as you can see on the screen, these are the tips that I got correct from last round. I got the Pies tip correct, I got the Blues tip correct, I got the Cats tip correct, and I got the Swans tip correct as well. Every other tip I got incorrect, and that currently leaves me in 22nd spot in my own tipping comp, and I am on a total score of 31 points. In first spot, we have Lockie_Hill, who was Lockie_Hill 0522, my apologies, who got a total of 6 out of 8 tips last round and is on a total score of 39 points. So fair play to Lockie_Hill 0522. Jesus, try to say that 5 times fast. But without further ado, let's take a look and see what my tips are for round 7 / Anzac round. All right, kicking off our Anzac round, we'll just call it Anzac round. We've got the now traditional clash between the Tigers and the D's on Anzac Day Eve. Both teams are coming off a bye, so this is, both teams are, pretty fresh coming into this game, so it should make for a very good competitive game of footy, and it is an Anzac Day Eve clash, so I do think it's going to be very competitive. Don't know if it's going to be high scoring, low scoring. We'll see how that pans out to be, but I am going to be backing in the Melbourne Footy Club to get the job done over the Tigers in this game. D's are just playing, a bit better footy than the Tigers are this season. But the Tigers, they have, caused an upset this season. They beat the Swans at the MCG, which, was a bit of an upset considering how the Swans are playing this season, especially looking now as they are second on the ladder. But yeah, I'm going to be backing in the D's to get the job done in this game. I do think it's going to be relatively close, but I'm tipping towards a margin of 14 points. So I'm backing in Melbourne by 14 points over the Tigers in this one. Next up, we move on to Anzac Day. The first game, obviously, being the Anzac Day clash, the traditional Anzac Day clash that has been happening for years, which is between the Bombers and my Pies, of course. The Bombers, they're coming off that exhilarating 3-point win over the Crows last round. A bit of controversy in that win, but a win's a win. And then you've got my Pies who are coming off that very good win over Port Adelaide by, I think, a margin of 42 points. Someone fact check me on that, but I believe it was. I'm going to be backing in my Pies to get the job done in this game. I'm wearing one of their Anzac Day designs, which I think is one of their best, to be honest, if I had to put it out there. But yeah, I'm going to be backing in my Pies to get the job done. I do think it's going to be a very highly competitive game. Obviously, the Bombers have got Peter Wright coming back as well, so that's a scary proposition for my Pies, but I do think we'll be good enough to get the job done in what I think will be a very highly competitive game. Normally is on Anzac Day. I do think it's going to be relatively close this game, but I'm backing in my Pies to get the job done, to make it 4 wins on the trot and really, really start to, get some mojo into our season. I don't know what will happen if we win this game, if we'll be in the top 8 or whatnot, but it will be quite immense. But like I said, I do think it's going to be a close game, quite competitive. Normally is on Anzac Day. The Bombers are playing some decent footy at the moment as well, with that Essendon edge that they've got going on. So yeah, I do think it's going to be close, but I'm backing in my Pies to get the job done in this one. Next up, we've got another game on Anzac Day. This one is at Manuka Oval in Canberra. It is between the Giants and the Lions. What a ripping game this should be. The Giants, they are coming off a loss against the Blues. Well, the Lions, they're coming off a loss against the Cats. So, yeah, going to be a ripping game, this one. Both teams will obviously want to get back on the winners list. Tough game to call. No Toby Green for the Giants, so I can see how that would be a factor. But even with Toby Green last round, the Giants couldn't get the job done. So, I don't know. It's a tough game to tip, this one. 78% to 22%. I reckon it should be a lot closer than that. I am going to be backing in... Jesus, who am I going to be backing in? I'm going to be backing in the Giants. I still think they can get it done without Toby Green. It is at Canberra though, so it's sort of neutral, but the Giants have played more games in Canberra than the Lions have, I think. Another fact check on that, please. But yeah, I'm going to be backing in the Giants. They're third on the ladder. They're playing some really good footy, and I believe they can get it done without Toby Green in this one. We move on to the Friday night game. This one is between Port Adelaide and St Kilda at the Adelaide Oval. The Power are coming off that loss against my Pies. Well, the Saints, they are also coming off a loss, I believe. Yes, they're coming off a 60-point loss against the Dogs, which I didn't see coming, but it happened. I hope that this is a close game, but I do think Port Adelaide is sort of going to run away with it in the end. So I am going to be backing in Port Adelaide to get the job done in this one at the Adelaide Oval to get back at that loss against my Pies last round. They'll sort of, I reckon they'll be a little bit devastated with how they played last round. They started off well, Port Adelaide, but then my Pies came back in the game and got the job done in the end. So I do think Port Adelaide will win this game. I don't know if it's going to be comfortably or it's going to be a close one, but yeah, I'm backing in the Power to get the job done in this one. And then we move on to the Saturday games. We've got 3 Saturday games. First one is at Bloodstone Arena. It is between North Melbourne and Adelaide. North Melbourne are coming off that loss against the Hawks, while Adelaide are coming off that devastating 3-point loss against the Bombers. I'm going to be backing in Adelaide to get the job done in this game over North Melbourne. I do think North Melbourne will be competitive in this game. It is in Tasmania, Bloodstone Arena, where North Melbourne tend to play alright at. But yeah, I do think Adelaide will win this game. I just feel like their forward line is just a lot more dangerous than North's forward line at the moment. So if Adelaide can get it in their forward line, it could be a scary time for North Melbourne and their defenders. So yeah, I'm going to be backing in Adelaide to get the job done in this one over the Roos. Next up, we move on to a massive game. Not even a big game, a massive game at the MCG, 435. Geez, the Blues have been given a lot of 435 games, but here is another one for them, and it is against the Cats at the mighty MCG. What a game this will be. Jesus Christ. We've got first taking on fourth. The Cats, they're playing some really mature footy. They beat the Lions last round, whereas the Blues, they also got a win last round over the Giants. The top 4 clash at the moment, as I'm currently recording, it is first versus fourth. Jeez, this is a tough one to tip. And I'm going to be backing in the Blues in this one. I just feel like the Blues are going to be up and about for this game. I know the Cats are playing some really good, mature footy at the moment. All of their, sort of older players or older players are really helping the younger players, and their forward line is mixing playing very well together at the moment with the likes of Henry, Stengel, Cameron, Hawkins. You're chucking Close in there. The Cats forward line is playing some very good footy at the moment. Like I said before, the elder players in Geelong are really helping out the younger players as well. Geelong, I reckon they'll keep it close, Geelong, but I do feel like the Blues are going to have a real good spark in this game. I'm going to have some real good patches in this game, and they're just going to have a bit of momentum in this game. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like the Blues at the MCG, Curnow, Mackay will get the job done over the Cats. I don't know what it is. I could be speaking out my ass, but I just feel like the Blues will just sort of come out, with an explosive manner and get the job done over the Cats in this one. Then we move on to Optus Stadium for a big game. We've got the Dockers taking on the Dogs. The Dockers are coming off that surprising loss in the Derby last round, whereas the Dogs are coming off that big win over the Saints. This is a tough game to tip, but I am going to be backing in the Dogs to get the job done in this game. I don't know what it is, but I feel like the Dogs will have a lot of confidence from their big 60-point win over the Saints last round. They played some terrific footy. Jesus, Dale was terrific. McRae was terrific. The Bonds, he's always good. Norden played well. Waitman played well. They all played well last round, and they sort of responded to that loss against the Bombers, previously the Dogs, in that last round win over the Saints. And I feel like they're going to take a lot of confidence from that win, hopefully, bring it into this game against the Dockers and get the job done. So yeah, I'm backing in the Dogs to get the job done over the Dockers in this one. Then we move on to the 2 Sunday games. We've got the Suns taking on the Eagles in the first game. The Eagles without Harley Reid. The Suns, they how'd the Suns do last round? The Suns lost to the Swans last round. They had some good patches in that game. I was watching that game and they had some decent patches in that game. The Suns. But yeah, the Eagles, how good were they? They played some terrific footy and got the job done over the Dockers. But I don't think it will be the same this game. I think the Suns at home will be too good in this one and manage to get the job done. So I'm backing in the Suns to get the win over the Eagles in this one. And lastly, we've got a pretty decent game. It's the Hawks taking on the Swans at the MCG. The Hawks are coming off their first win of the season last round against North Melbourne, where the Swans are coming off that win over the Suns, like I said before, last round. I'm going to be backing in the Swans in this game. Although, they didn't play to their best last round, they still got a massive win over the Suns. The Suns, like I said, they had good patches against the Swans last round. The Suns did against the Swans, but the Swans, they managed to still get a big win. So that's showing how good of a team they are this season. So yeah, I'm going to be backing in the Swans to get the job done at the MCG. They're not always the greatest at the MCG. They got done by the Tigers at the G, but then they beat White Pies at the G. So they're 50-50 at the moment at the MCG this season. The Swans. I feel like, they'll be getting another win at the G in this one over the Hawks. So I'm tipping the Swans in this one over the Hawks. But yeah, those are my tips done and dusted for Anzac round /round 7. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, I will be going to Anzac Day tomorrow. It's going to be a massive game, massive occasion. I cannot wait for it. Always a good game, Anzac Day. And I will be there. So yeah, there will be a match day vlog coming out for that game as well. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and I'll catch you for that match day vlog very soon. Cheers.